So, now we would focus more on the blast furnace slag. So, what we have discussed till now, a general property of the slag and the liquid iron. So, in blast furnace the slag is formed when the unreduced oxides like oxides of ore, flux and fuel S are combined together to form liquid which is lighter than the hot metal. So, it determines or indicates the metal quality, content of carbon, silicon, manganese, sulfur and FeO and temperature. So, slag determines what is the slag composition and things, one can know what would be the metal quality and temperature. Homogeneity, so absence of crystallization phase like titanium carbide and those. Sulfur retention potential, so high ratio of that sulfide capacity, so sulfur in slag and sulfur in metal, so high ratio of it. So, this tells also about the sulfur retention capacity of the blast furnace slag. Viscosity is another important aspect of the slag, whether it is highly viscous or it has a low viscosity, because that will affect the refining or transfer of the element between the metal and slag significantly. Suitability of slag for use in cement, because finally the slag which comes out from the blast furnace, it should be usable to the cement industries. So, suitability of the slag for use in cement, so it should have a low dust. So, these all properties should be there, or it indicate these sort of things when one can see the composition of the slag of the blast furnace. Now, because the slag is not only forming just at the hearth, it start forming somewhere from the cohesive zone where it start melting a bit. So, gangue material combine and form slag. So, you have a different type of slag from cohesive zone to the hearth region, and these are the one which we would be discussing now. So, the property of the slag, mostly viscosity, melting point, vary widely within the blast furnace. Slag may be classified as primary slag, and what is it? This is partially reduced iron oxide combined with the gangue to form low temperature fusible eutectics. Slag softening and melting occurs during the descent of charge, giving a shape and location to the cohesive zone, which is dependent on the gas temperature, gas distribution and the burden properties. So, the things which we were talking about, the cohesive zone, so that is where actually the oxide combined with the gangue material, mostly CaO, SiO2 to form low temperature fusible eutectics. So, this is a low temperature eutectics, and it starts sort of softening and start melting slowly. So, the amount of primary slag which contains mainly SiO2, CaO, MgO, Al2O3, FeO and a small amount of manganese oxide. So, in this region the main constituent of the slags are these. Manganese oxide, sometimes it may go up to 10%, and of course, the FeO up to 30%, as we had mentioned before in the reduction of hematite, how it progresses Fe2O3 to Fe3O4 to FeO, and Fe2O3 is almost 100% utilization, then 80%, and then quite low for FeO 30%. So, quite a lot boostite. FeO is also known as boostite. So, this boostite is carried over near the cohesive zone. So, you get lots of iron oxide in the cohesive zone and it has to be reduced further. So, up to 30% in slag contribute towards forming a low melting eutectic as shown in the next figure. Here of course, we have used the solidus and liquidus temperature. So, usually solidus temperature in respect to this is the temperature at which slag starts melting, and liquidus temperature at which melting is completed. So, that is the upper boundary of cohesive zone is this solidus temperature, that is at which the slag starts melting, and lower boundary of the cohesive zone is the liquidus temperature. So, after that all this one is in the liquid form which is dripping down through the Koch matrix. So, now we will see how this eutectic in this next figure. So, this is a phase diagram, mostly SiO2, calcium oxide, magnesium oxide, and at 10% Al2O3. So, Al2O3 is fixed, however, your SiO2, CaO, MgO is changing. So, SiO2 is 100% here, and then it goes reducing to this axis. Similarly, MgO is 100% here, reducing toward this. Similarly, CaO is 100% at this vertex and reducing towards SiO2. So, that 80 is showing the 80% CaO. If we take a point here, 80% CaO, 10% MgO, and your about 10% SiO2. So, the phase diagram of liquidus temperature of blast furnace slag system for 10% Al2O3. The slag composition here we are assuming 40% calcium oxide, 10% magnesium oxide, and 36% SiO2 is also indicated in this. To this end, the components have to be recalculated from 96 to 100% of the slag. The area where the liquidus temperature of the slag lower than 1400 degrees Celsius indicated in yellow. So, usually the slag, typical slag composition is about 40% CO, 10% MgO, 36% SiO2, 10% Al2O3. That is how we put it. This is a typical slag composition, and usually it is that sort of range which can be adjusted. That is why it is said 96 to 100%, because this comes to 96%. So, few other things are there which can be adjusted, and this composition which is shown here, that point actually belongs to this. So, which is showing about your, if you look at MgO is about 10%, SiO2 is about 36%, and the CaO is about 40% and 10% Al2O3, and these lines are indicating the temperature, so isotherms. So, you can see if this you have a very high content of MgO, the temperature, liquid temperature is quite high. So, this actually a liquidus temperature, and these are the phases which are indicating various phase: mullite, forestite, tridymite, cristobalite, of silica phase, like that. So, you can see 1700, 1600 and then 1400, and that is where it is written as it is lower than 1400. So, it is lying over here which is lower than 1400. When you come towards silica side, again it is showing 17, 16, 15, 1400 boundary. Here again this is a 1400, this is 1300, 1300 this boundary. Similarly, here 1700, 1600, 1500 and that is 1400. So, this region what you are having is a liquidus temperature of the slag less than 1400. So, if your composition of the slag you adjust within this region, you will have the liquidus temperature of this. Of course, if you adjust properly, you can have even a liquidus temperature somewhere in the range of 1300 degrees Celsius in this. However, one has to see what would be the effect of this composition in terms of mass transfer of this element between the slag and the iron. So, by studying this one can even adjust the liquidus temperature and the composition of the slag. So, now, so that was the primary slag which is in the cohesive zone. After it becomes totally liquid below the lower boundary of the cohesive zone, Bose slag start forming. So, Bose slag is the volume of slag increases in this region, and so the content of SiO2, Al2O3 and CaO in the slag, while content of FeO and MnO is reduced to their reduction. So, due to decrease of FeO content in the slag by direct reduction of FeO with carbon, the liquidus temperature of the slag increases as it flows down further into the lower part of the blast furnace. If the rise in temperature in the lower zone of blast furnace is not commensurate with the increase in liquidus temperature of the slag, then it may resolidify. So, see the effect of FeO, because FeO is present in quite high form in the primary slag. So, liquidus temperature is low, but as it goes comes into the Bose region, we have more SiO2 S which is coming out by burning of coke, and in that one you have Al2O3, and of course, more dissociation of calcium carbonate occurs and more CaO is available, while FeO and MnO content is reduced. So, due to decrease of this, the liquidus temperature of the slag increases. So, if we do not take care of this and liquidus temperature goes quite high, it may resolidify in the blast furnace, and that will have very adverse effect on the blast furnace operation. So, usually presence of lime, magnesia and MnO keeps the liquid temperature low, which can be seen from figures below. So, for high basicity slag with higher liquidus temperature, extra SiO2 is added for higher liquidus temperature. So, one has to put more lime on magnesia to keep the liquidus temperature low. So, this diagram have been developed for pure component again, and in practice the liquidation temperature are somewhat lower because there are many other impurities which are present. So, the liquidation temperature is about 1400 degree Celsius, and that the liquidation temperature increases when CaO increases and when the basicity increases. So, when you increase the CaO naturally basicity will increase, which is the ratio of mostly as a CaO by SiO2 or plus Al2O3 or CaO plus MgO divided by SiO2 plus Al2O3. That is how you define the basicity. So, in this one if you have a 5% Al2O3 and again in the same way SiO2 CaO 100%, SiO2 100%, decreasing this direction, MgO 100%, decreasing this direction. So, it shows the effect of Al2O3 addition. So, one can see SiO2 actually when 5% Al2O3 is there, your SiO2 constant actually is quite high and your solid temperature actually liquid temperature has increased. You can see that your 1300 degree this is 1800 is somewhere here, 1600, 1500 isotherm, this is 1400 isotherm and this is 1300. So, in fact 1300 sort of isotherm is quite hazy and sort of a missing. So, naturally high silica actually increase the solidus temperature. So, melting is quite difficult. So, if you have more this less silica and more SiO2, you can see this is your 1300 degree Celsius region where one can have a molten slag, the liquid temperature of that at 10% Al2O3 and some reduction in SiO2, and in this one of course when 15% you are really covering a wide range of slag composition at 1300 degrees Celsius liquid temperature. So, you can adjust your composition within this. So, it goes to somewhere 65 SiO2 if you take, or maybe your 55 somewhere here, and you can have 15% and about 45 or 35% your CaO. So, that sort of composition over here will with the 15% Al2O3 will give a liquid temperature of 1300 degree Celsius, which probably is desired in ion making operation. So, by studying this ternary and quaternary diagram, one can actually adjust the composition of slag to get the proper liquid temperature of the slag, and of course, in that way the fluidity and viscosity of the slag. The slag composition of typical pellets and sinter qualities. So, how does it form, where the composition of sinter and pellets lie in the ternary or quaternary diagram? One can see in that way. So, we already discussed where the typical blast furnace slag lies in this ternary diagram with 10% Al2O3 fixed. So, this is the typical composition of the blast furnace slag, which is in around 1400 degrees Celsius liquid temperature, the melting point of that. And now, if we look at the olivine flux pellet that we talked during the pelletization. So, where more SiO2 is there. So, in that composition lie somewhere here, which is lying their liquidation temperature somewhere between 1500 to 1400 degrees Celsius, so quite high, and that may narrow down the cohesive zone region, but not only that, it will also comes closer to the tear region. So, one has to see the advantage and disadvantage of it. However, typically you have more actually basic pellets to form a good slag. So, typical basic pellet actually lie somewhere here between 1600 and 1800, that also gives a quite high liquidus temperature, and where you have about 35, 20 and almost like 50 or 45% CaO. Superflux, naturally in superflux one you have a higher amount of lime, and that is how this is indicated in the figure over here, number 3. So, which is having almost 60 plus percentage of CaO, and then SiO2 is of course quite low, about 25% or 30. MgO is also low, about 5 to 10%. So, this is a typical composition of the superflux pellet, and which has sort of a solidus temperature, the range of about 1800 degrees Celsius, between 18 and 1700 I would say, that is the solidus temperature for the superflux sinter. And then you have a flux sinter, which of course has the less lime, and if you remember this sintering operation we discussed during the sintering, and where we talked about how do you produce the sinters, you put lots of lime and other during granulation process, and that is where you control this lime content, and that is how you make superflux and flux pellet. So, in flux pellet there is a less lime. So, this is the number 4 composition where flux sinter is lying. So, you have a about 50% or less lime in that, and again MgO is not that much, 5% plus, and your SiO2 is about 35% or so, and this temperature is about in the range of 17 to 1600, the liquidus temperature for this flux sinter. And also sometime we have acid pellets which are used for a special purpose when we need it. So, acid pellets means more SiO2 should be present in that, and that composition is lying, that is why toward the SiO2 vertices. So, this is number 5, and which indicates again 1800 like 1800 plus sort of a liquidus temperature. So, very high SiO2 content, more than 70% SiO2 content usually in this one, and lime is very low, about 10, and similarly the MgO is also quite low, about 5 and 10% Al2O3. So, by adjusting this raw material composition, because nowadays in the modern blast furnace they are mostly 80 to 90% material raw material of iron ore is fed in the form of either pellets or sinters, hardly 10% is in the form of iron ore. So, one can adjust the composition of these raw material, especially the pellet and sinter, according to this ternary or quaternary diagram, and can adjust the liquidus temperature of the slag and can work out in which region it should come. So, the operation of the blast furnace would be smooth. So, this ternary and quaternary diagram is quite helpful in adjusting the composition of the pellet sinter and thus about this slag properties. Now, the ore burden contains a lot of FeO. So, till now we did not discuss about the iron oxide. Of course, this is more in the cohesive region, which lowers the melting temperature and thus lowers the liquidus temperature and solidus temperature. This is indicated in the figure below. At a basicity ratio of CaO to SiO2 of 0.9, the liquidus temperature of slag decreases. When FeO is present at 0%, at 0% FeO, the liquidus temperature is 1540, at 20% FeO 1370, at 40% FeO is 1220. So, this again the ternary diagram is showing mostly it is taking the composition of SiO2, CaO, FeO, but you know in the actual blast furnace this is not the case. You have many other component, you of course you have MgO, you have Al2O3, you can have a small amount of manganese and so forth. So, and these all will contribute also in lowering the temperature, but at the moment we are just talking the effect of FeO on this solidus temperature and liquidus temperature. So, SiO2, so as I said SiO2 percent decreases in this direction, similarly FeO percentage decreases in this and CaO decreases in this direction. So, 100% CaO, 100% FeO, 100% SiO2 at the 3 vertices of the triangle. And the slag basicity which we have said 0.9, which is a typical one in the blast furnace upper things we take it. So, this is the line which is showing about the slag constant slag basicity of 0.9. So, you can, and this is the solidus temperature at 1540 degrees Celsius, that is when 0% FeO. So, essentially it is having 0% FeO, but about I would say 40-50% your CaO and about 55% SiO2, and of course FeO is 0. So, that is anyway 45 or 55 around 0.9 it gives, and that is the point which it is showing 0% FeO. The liquidus temperature is about 1540 degrees Celsius, and as the FeO content increases, the liquidus temperature reduces. So, when we go to 20% of FeO, it reduces to 1370. So, these are of course the temperature isotherm of that. So, when temperature is 1370, FeO content in the slag is 20%. So, which comes here, here, and this would be somewhere in fact there, and this would be here. So, that composition gives you lower liquidus temperature 1370, and if Wüstite content is increased further to 40%, then it comes to here this point and liquidus temperature reduces to 1220 degrees Celsius. This is where you have a cohesive zone composition between 20 to 40%, and of course, you have MgO and MnO. So, that also reduces the liquidus temperature in this. So, it further reduces to and that is why melting starts somewhere around 1100 to 1150 degrees Celsius in the cohesive zone, in the upper zone of the cohesive, and it becomes totally liquid at the lower boundary of the cohesive zone. So, this shows the importance of ternary and quaternary diagram, because using that one can really select the proper composition of the slag to operate the blast furnace in a much smoother way, and can take the corrective action at various stages. So, as you have seen, the primary slag composition is quite different, Bose slag composition is again very different, and when we reach to Hearth slag, then that composition is also quite different. So, the Hearth region slag, what we called also as a final slag, and this is this has some of the SiO2 comes from the S of the coke, which is burnt at the tuer level, and some goes to Bose slag. So, in this one what we are trying what it is saying, that the S which is coming out from the tuer region by burning, and S contains the SiO2 and of course some amount of Al2O3 or other thing. So, some amount of SiO2 of that S goes to the Bose slag, and remaining amount goes to the final slags. So, other amount goes to slag, and sulfur content is increased because the basicity is decreased, so sulfur content is increased. So, you need a high basicity slag to remove the sulfur. So, that is why the sulfur content is increased. Lime is dissolved in this slag. The formation of this slag is almost completed in combustion zone. So, in combustion zone it is almost get completed this final slag. So, usually Bose slag basicity is higher if the ore is rich in iron content, and lower would be the slag volume. So, usually ore is rich in iron content and less SiO2 in that when coming from the cohesive zone region. So, your basicity usually in Bose region is high, but more SiO2 zones later from the S, and then that increases decreases the basicity. So, but because basicity is high, the slag volume is low, and which is a good thing in the lower part of the blast furnace. We will see now one numerical example in the next slide which will illustrate the effect of iron content and coke ash content on the slag basicity. So, this thing probably will become more clearer to you once I think we go through this numerical example, where you can compare the basicity of the Bose slag and the final slag. So, slag forms a pool in the hearth region when it gets completed somewhere in the combustion zone, it comes down and forms a pool in the hearth region, where it floats at the top of the metal pool due to the lower density of the slag, almost 2.5 times lower than iron density, metal pool density I should say, because the iron is not a pure iron, it is a mixture of some impurities like sulfur, carbon, phosphorus, manganese, like that. So, during the passage of metal droplets rivulate through the slag layer, transfer of manganese, sulfur, silicon, etc. species takes place, trying to reach to an equilibrium state. So, this is very important. Now, because the density of the slag is low, but volume is high, so it makes a big pool on top of the metal, and automatically the metal has to pass through this slag layer, which is quite having a good height through which it has to pass, and during that passage most of the mass transfer occurs in the slag region. And of course, it now with the recent study they do not reach to the equilibrium state, because do not have that sort of time. Most of the reaction as we had discussed before in terms of like silicon, manganese and sulfur and other, but it reaches quite quite a bit into equilibrium state. But slag acts as a refining agent in one way for metal. So, therefore, it plays an important role in controlling the final chemistry of the metal before it is tapped. So, this is very important that it controls the final chemistry of the metal before it is tapped. So, and because it passes in the form of droplet and rivulet, that also we have seen in a video that because the flow is non-wetting. So, liquid ion or slag is coming more in the form of droplet and rivulet, and in one way this is actually a good thing, because it gives more surface area, and which promotes more mass transfer, and that is why it plays an important role in controlling the final chemistry of the metal before it is tapped.